Welcome to a journey through the remarkable story of Warren Buffett's path to wealth. In this narrative, you'll discover how a curious boy transformed into a financial titan through relentless curiosity and prudent investing. As we explore this tale, expect an engaging mix of perseverance, financial acumen, and a touch of humility. To make your experience smooth, complex vocabulary and notable grammar choices will be briefly explained in line. So sit back as we delve into an inspirational and reflective story that not only informs but also inspires aspiring investors, business students, and biography enthusiasts. Warren ambled down the sunlit streets of his neighborhood, a burlap sack slung over his shoulder. The afternoon air carried a salubrious breeze, meaning health-giving, that fluttered the leaves of the elm trees lining the sidewalks. His heart danced with the thrill of possibility, each empty bottle he spotted holding the promise of profit. The clink of glass on glass was to him a symphony of opportunity, each note a step toward his dream of financial independence. He scoured the nooks and crannies of front yards and alleyways, his eyes sharp with purpose. Never had Warren felt such excitement. Inversion for emphasis, auxiliary plus subject plus past participle. The neighborhood was a treasure trove, and he the eager prospector. With each bottle added to his collection, Warren's fascination, meaning interest, in the mechanics of money grew. Back at home, his small room was a sanctuary of books and charts. The walls were lined with financial tomes, each promising secrets of wealth accumulation. Warren sat at his makeshift desk, a simple wooden table littered with papers and pencils. The room was filled with the ambiance, meaning atmosphere, of quiet determination. Here he calculated his profit margins with methodical precision, enjoying the challenge of turning small ventures into something more significant. With the afternoon sun beginning to wane, Warren found himself standing at the counter of the local grocery store. His fingers gripped a few crumpled bills, the fruit of his afternoon's labor. At 11 years old, this first transaction was a rite of passage. He felt a mixture of asterisk exhilaration, meaning thrill, and anxiety, as he purchased his initial stock of chewing gum and sodas. These were commodities he intended to sell for a modest profit, a tiny step in his grand vision. Later, at dinner, his father's calm voice filled the room. Warren's father had a way of making even the most complex ideas seem simple. Over meatloaf and mashed potatoes, he spoke of the importance of patience in investing. "Warren," he said, his tone steady and thoughtful, "if you were to succeed, patience was key." Subjunctive mood for advice were plus infinitive. Warren absorbed every word, nodding as he chewed, his mind already racing with possibilities. His father's advice was a beacon, lighting the path to his aspirations. That evening, lying in bed, Warren reflected on these words. The room was quiet, save for the gentle ticking of the clock. He made a resolution then to embody patience in every endeavor. As sleep slowly claimed him, Warren's mind drifted to the bustling scenes he imagined in the stock exchange. The clamor of traders, the whirl of numbers flashing on screens. These were the dreams that filled him with ambition. In that mental arena, he was not just a boy, but a burgeoning financial titan, hungry for knowledge and success. In that moment, Warren understood that the journey was not just about wealth, but about the pursuit of his passion. The stage was set, and the world awaited his play. With his father's wisdom in his heart, and a resolve to persevere, Warren knew that his path, though challenging, was clear. As the night deepened, so too did his determination, promising a future bright with potential. In the dimly lit room, Warren sat surrounded by a sea of papers. They bore silent witness to a venture gone awry. His eyes traced the figures and charts, each one a reminder of what had been lost. A feeling of disappointment weighed heavily on his shoulders. This was not his first misstep, yet each failure felt unique in its bitterness. The room was quiet, except for the occasional rustle of paper as if the documents themselves sighed in sympathy. Determined not to be defeated, Warren turned to his books. The crisp sound of pages turning echoed in the stillness. He read voraciously, meaning eagerly, absorbing each sentence with an insatiable hunger for knowledge. Each book held the potential for insight, each paragraph a stepping stone to understanding. Warren knew that within these pages lay the secrets of those who had succeeded before him. Rarely does he falter after learning. Inversion for emphasis, auxiliary plus subject plus base verb, and he wasn't about to start now. The scene shifted to the bustling streets of Omaha. Here the energy was palpable, the air filled with the sense of street vendors and the distant hum of traffic. Warren walked these streets with a keen eye, observing the pragmatic, meaning practical approach of local entrepreneurs. Their industrious spirit was infectious, the way they navigated the complexities of business with surety and resilience. He watched them, learned from them, understanding that the stock market was not unlike these busy streets. Both required a balance of caution and daring. In one particular corner store, Warren struck up a conversation with a seasoned grocer. The man, with hands calloused from years of labor, shared candid insights. "You gotta know your customers, Warren. Know what they want before they even do," the grocer imparted with a grin. "It's all about the details," Warren nodded, appreciating the lesson. Business, he realized, was rooted in understanding people as much as it was in understanding numbers. Armed with this newfound wisdom, Warren began to develop a more methodical approach to investing. He drew inspiration from the books he had devoured and the real-world observations he had keenly made. It was a fusion of knowledge and intuition, a plan that he hoped would withstand the unpredictable nature of the market. If he were to fail again, subjunctive mood, express hypothetical, it wouldn't be for lack of preparation. Later, the inviting aroma of freshly brewed coffee greeted him as he entered a local diner. The place was modest, but its warmth was undeniable. Warren settled into a corner booth, a worn notebook in hand. Here, with the hum of conversations around him and a steaming cup beside him, he began to jot down his investment strategies. Each line was carefully thought out, reflecting the lessons he had gathered through his experiences. As he wrote, he couldn't help but reflect on the journey thus far. Warren understood that failure was merely a precursor to success, a teacher in disguise. The lessons he had learned were invaluable, shaping his approach and steeling his resolve. He was determined to refine his financial strategies with the wisdom he had gained. In that diner, as the afternoon light began to soften, Warren's resolve hardened. He was ready to face the challenges that lay ahead, ready to transform setbacks into stepping stones. The scent of coffee lingered in the air, a comforting reminder of the warmth of home and the promise of new beginnings. The evening ambiance enveloped the cozy restaurant, its dim lighting casting soft shadows across the rich wooden tables. The clinking of cutlery punctuated the air, mingling with the aroma of freshly baked bread and roasted herbs. Warren Buffett sat across from Charlie Munger, both men enveloped in the warm cocoon of geniality and spirited debate. "I still believe in the value of traditional methods," Warren began, his voice steady yet playful. "Value investing has served us well for decades." Charlie, ever the contrarian, leaned back with a thoughtful smile. "But where's the fun in never challenging the paradigm? Meaning, a model or pattern?" he asked, the corners of his eyes crinkling. "Sometimes you need to turn things upside down to see what's really underneath." Warren chuckled, appreciating the incisive, meaning clear and direct, nature of Charlie's argument. "Perhaps," he conceded, tapping the table with his index finger, "but one must tread carefully. The stakes are high." Charlie leaned forward, his tone a blend of mischief and seriousness. "Warren, are we talking about stakes or steak? Because one of those is on my plate, and it's getting cold." A burst of laughter erupted from Warren. "All right, you win this round," he admitted, joining Charlie in good-natured camaraderie. "But I'm still not sold on buying into every new idea that crosses Wall Street." The conversation continued, both men exchanging ideas like seasoned tennis players volleying back and forth. The restaurant around them began to empty, the evening slipping into night with a gentle insistence. The next morning, the scene shifted dramatically to the bustling stock exchange floor. The air was electric, with the clatter of stocks being traded, a cacophony that reminded Warren of an orchestra tuning up, each section contributing its own distinct sound. Never had Warren felt so invigorated. Inversion for emphasis, auxiliary plus subject plus past participle, as he stood beside Charlie, the energy of the place seeping into his bones. "Look at this." Charlie gestured animatedly, pointing to a stock ticker. "A struggling textile mill, ripe for a transformation." Warren nodded, a new idea taking root. He had been feeling a surge of optimism, having considered the possibilities long before this discussion, thanks to countless nights spent in contemplation. They needed a project, something they could mold and shape, a testament to their combined acumen, meaning keenness and insight. "Let's acquire it," Warren decided, his voice firm with conviction. The decision seemed to crystallize the air around them, turning speculation into action. It was not a simple endeavor. Through a series of meticulous, meaning very careful and precise efforts, they began to breathe new life into the mill. Warren and Charlie, each bringing their unique strengths, worked tirelessly. Warren's prudence balanced Charlie's vision, each decision measured and deliberate. As the weeks unfolded, the mill began its transformation, a testament to their shared resolve and ingenuity. Slowly but surely, profits followed, vindicating their efforts and validating their approach. In the quiet moments, Warren reflected on the journey, humbled by their achievements, yet aware of the road yet traveled. The balance of his own values against the pursuit of wealth was a constant negotiation. And as the sun set on another day, Warren couldn't help but wonder what new challenges tomorrow would bring. The burgeoning success of the mill was just the beginning, a small step towards a greater vision. The hook that lingered in the air was the question of what lay beyond the horizon, a subtle promise of more to come, more lessons to learn, and more successes to achieve. Warren leaned back in his worn leather chair, the scent of old paper and ink enveloping him like a familiar comforter. His modest office was a sanctuary of sorts, filled with books and documents that told the tales of companies both thriving and extinct. Here, amidst this quiet chaos, he strategized on diversifying Berkshire's holdings. The room held a certain gravitas, the kind built over decades of prudent choices and relentless curiosity. He reviewed the list of potential acquisitions, his pen hovering thoughtfully above a ledger. Warren had decided it was time to expand beyond the insurance firms that had anchored Berkshire's early growth. Confectionaries, with their universal appeal and steady demand, intrigued him. His research was meticulous, each line of numbers a potential path to prosperity, or a detour into peril. He understood the vicissitudes of the market, meaning changes of circumstances, far too well to rush. The door creaked open, and Charlie Munger ambled in, a wry smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Their repartee was like a well-worn play, filled with humor yet incisive wisdom that had been honed over years of collaboration. "Are we conquering the candy world now, Warren?" Charlie teased, settling into a chair opposite. "One sweet at a time, Charlie," Warren replied, grinning. "The market's a fickle beast, isn't it?" Charlie nodded, his eyes sharp. "Indeed, but there's opportunity in those vicissitudes, provided one has the stomach for it." "Inversion for emphasis, auxiliary plus subject plus past participle," Warren observed dryly. "You're right, though. It's about the balance between risk and security." They spent the next hour dissecting financial statements, their conversation punctuated by Charlie's occasional bursts of laughter. Despite the levity, there was a seriousness underlying their banter. Each decision loomed large, a step on the tightrope Warren walked every day. As dusk descended, Warren found himself at home, staring out at the serene landscape, meaning calm and peaceful, beyond his window. The rolling field seemed to stretch endlessly, a comforting reminder of stability amid the tumult of his thoughts. His mind wandered to the fine line between risk and security, the ever-present shadow of failure lurking at the edges of his consciousness. There was a part of him, deep and unyielding, that feared the collapse of all he had built. Yet he was determined not to let that fear dictate his actions. Warren knew he had to implement pragmatic strategies, meaning practical, to shield Berkshire from the storms of the financial world. His focus was on long-term sustainability, ensuring that the company would weather whatever came its way. This was his legacy, after all. The evening air was cool and refreshing, and Warren felt the salubrious effects, meaning health-giving, of his thoughtful planning. Optimism stirred within him. Despite the challenges, there was a sense of purpose that invigorated him. He could see the path forward, albeit obscured by the mists of uncertainty. As the first stars appeared in the twilight sky, Warren felt a quiet confidence settle over him. He was ready to face whatever lay ahead, buoyed by the knowledge that he had prepared as best he could. The future held promise, and he was determined to seize it. And so, with a nod to the universe and a heart full of resolve, Warren Buffett turned away from the window, stepping back into the warmth of his home and the relentless pursuit of his dreams. The hall was alive with expectation, a buzz of anticipation weaving through the air like an electric current. Warren stood at the podium, his gaze sweeping across a sea of faces. The sharp scent of cologne mingled with the muted hum of the crowd, creating an atmosphere brimming with potential energy. This moment, the speech, was more than just a sharing of thoughts. It was a chance to shape minds, and perhaps steer the future course of countless lives. Warren began, his voice a clear, resonant, meaning echoing, tone, reaching every corner of the vast room. He spoke of wealth not as mere accumulation, but as a tool for greater good. Money, in its essence, he declared, is an opportunity, a chance to influence and improve the world around us. The atmosphere shifted as he wove in vivid anecdotes from his life, stories of success and failure, of insights gained through persistence, captivated the audience. Each tale painted a picture of a man who understood that wealth carried weight beyond its material measure. The audience leaned in, eager to catch every word, sensing the indelible, meaning unforgettable, impression these stories left. With the ease of a seasoned storyteller, Warren pivoted to address the younger investors in the room. The crowd's murmur dimmed, replaced by the soft rustle of paper and the gentle clicks of pens, a symphony of note-taking that signaled attentive minds. "Never forget humility," he advised, his tone gentle yet firm. "Humility is your compass in the often turbulent sea of finance." He sensed their eager curiosity, their hunger for wisdom. True acumen, meaning insight, comes not just from numbers, but from understanding people. He imparted, his eyes bright with conviction. The young investors nodded, absorbing the lesson as if it were a rare treasure. As Warren spoke, his mind flickered to reflections on his own journey. What legacy would he leave? Would his influence endure the passage of time? These thoughts lingered, shadowing his words with a depth that only he could perceive. The room, though filled with people, felt intimate, as if he were speaking directly to each individual seated before him. His mind turned momentarily inward. If he had acted differently, could his path have been altered? Had he known, inversion for emphasis, auxiliary plus subject plus past participle, the weight of each decision, would he have chosen the same? In the quiet recesses of his mind, he mused over these hypotheticals, the subjunctive mood coloring his reflections with a hypothetical tint. Subjunctive mood for hypothetical reflections. Returning his focus to the present, Warren concluded, "We must wield our influence responsibly. Let our wealth be a beacon that illuminates, not overshadows." The final words hung in the air, resonating with a clarity that cut through any lingering doubt. As the gathering concluded, the audience began to disperse, their their conversations carrying the ideas Warren had so deftly imparted. Yet, amidst the ebb and flow of movement, a subtle hook lingered in the air, a question of legacy and the enduring impact of one's actions. Warren watched, satisfied yet pensive, aware that the seeds he had planted would take root in fertile minds. The future was uncertain, but within the uncertainty lay the promise of change, of progress driven by those who dared to dream and act with integrity. Thanks for tuning in to the English Frequency Podcast. We're glad to be part of your English learning journey from beginner to advanced. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, share, and leave a review. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and see you in the next episode.